Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
About 10 minutes left for a chance at Q101's Fest. I'll be getting you to Boston Calling Music Festival at the end of the month. Fall Out Boy, Cage, All Time Low, The Main, Sublime, Vampire Weekend, and more. Plus, just for qualifying, you get Riot Fest tickets for one day. You get to choose your day. All you got to do is text BEAN, B-E-A-N, to 312-591-8300. Some people spelled it a little wrong with two E's. It's B-E-A-N, like Bean Town. 312-591-8300. Text that. 10 minutes left to do that, to get in that competition for Q101 Fest. Kenzie, did you ever see a band early on that ended up blowing up to be a stadium band, but you saw them in a tiny venue or saw them first? Is there any band like that you can recall?
It's not a band, and I don't want you to laugh at me.
No, I can't promise that.
I don't want you to laugh at me, but it's super for real.
Okay, I can't promise that, but go ahead.
Cardi B performed at my birthday party. I swear to God, I have a picture of it. She did my birthday party at a club in Florida.
Yep.
It was either my 21st or my 22nd birthday. It was my 22nd birthday.
Okay.
She had her shoes off. The whole time she took her shoes off to perform on the stage. And I think she had honestly recently got done stripping. Like, she just had her mixtape out. Gangster Bitch Music Volume 1 had recently dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I had her have a birthday party.
Well,
I have a picture of it.
Who booked her?
Like, I was working at a radio station, so I just reached out to her.
Oh, okay. So,
and I had the club pay for it because they got the profits of the night.
Well, that's the key these days, is to make someone else pay for it, you see,
yeah.
like the wall.
So the club paid for it, and then we could promote it on the radio, and we gave away tickets.
Reject a woman, and she will not.
Oh. Sorry about that.
But she was not obviously she was not I couldn't get Cardi B to perform at my birthday party now.
Oh, I think you reach out. You might be surprised.
Yeah.
Might be surprised.
She might be looking to change formats. This might be a big break for her.
I know.
Now, Case sees all the bands before they become big, like Turnstile. He turned me on to them about 4 years ago, and I went and saw him at Lollapalooza. Actually, I didn't. I was supposed to, but I went swimming instead.
But you didn't go swimming because you got stuck having a conversation with somebody else.
And then I got crumble cookies. That's a whole other. It's a whole thing.
Hey, you saw them at Riot Fest, though.
But is there a band, Case? Turnstile might be one of them, but a band you saw so early and then they became kind of a stadium band after that. Is there one band that comes to your mind?
Not a stadium band, but I saw one of Beach Bunny's first shows. Beach Bunny are Chicago people. Q101 Twisted Christmas. They played a bunch of shows for us. I saw them. So there's Subterranean in Wicker Park, which is like a 300 cap club, and it's really, if you remember Sub T, it's really long and narrow, and it's obviously a very small room. I don't know if a lot of people realize they also do shows downstairs. If you can't sell the 300 tickets upstairs, you can sell 40 tickets downstairs.
Yeah.
And that is a spot for you. And I saw Beach Bunny open a show at Subterranean downstairs. This was in December of 2017. It was freezing cold out. The band Radiator Hospital was headlining. Radiator Hospital did not become a stadium band.
It's too bad.
Bummer. Great band. Really, I can't believe they weren't bigger. But Beach Bunny opened that show, and I remember going oh, so they're just going to be in my life now. That's going to be a thing. And sure enough, 8 years later, they've got a record coming out tomorrow.
Well, I saw a band last night at Martyrs. And I'll tell you the band in a second here after we play Hoobastank, that this is going to be a stadium band. And I'm really thankful that I got to see them at Martyrs, which holds under 300 people. And I'll tell you about this band next when we come back here in Music Entertainment News. But I want to give you a little more of a hint on it. But I'm telling you, this band will be selling out Soldier Field. I don't know how many years from now, but down the road, and I got to see them first, and it's cool. And if you have one of those bands, too, check in at 312-591-8300. You saw them before they got monstrous. Text in right now. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Last warning here, 4 minutes to text BEAN to 312-591-8300. You got about 4 minutes left, a chance to get a VIP trip to Boston Calling Music Festival and Riot Fest tickets. BEAN, B-E-A-N, to 312-591-8300. Now some music entertainment news. I'll tell you, I saw a band last night that I think will be playing stadiums at some point in their career, or at least be very, very big. And I saw them at a tiny venue, and it brings back, people love talking about that. I know when you've seen a band, when you've seen that band, and then you go, these guys are going to make it. And oftentimes, it's so hard to make it huge. Nothing happens. But when you see that one band that does, it's just a great feeling that you will always remember. It gives you goosebumps. And Case on the text line, what are some people saying about some of those bands?
There's so many. This is so fun to read. People are talking about they saw System of a Down open for Static X at the Metro at one point.
Wow.
I know. The thought of Static X headlining over System of a Down at any point is pretty incredible. Nirvana on the Bleach Tour in 1989.
Woo!
Somebody saw Green Day for $5. Jimmy Eat World at the Fireside Bowl here in Chicago, 1996. How great is that?
That is so cool.
The one that always gets mentioned, and I'm so proud to work at Q101 for reasons like this, the one that's getting mentioned on the text line a ton, and I hear people say this all the time, to a point that I think people are lying about being there, is Picnic 2013, which oddly enough, we're announcing our picnic lineup at 10 o'clock today. Picnic 2013, we had 21 Pilots play on the side stage. And so this is a trailer and a parking lot, and now everybody
all 21 of them.
All 21 of them. Everybody in the world seems to claim they saw 21 Pilots on the side stage now, but this is right before their life changed and alternative music changed as a result of them. But Picnic 2013, Tinley Park, 21 Pilots on the side stage is coming up quite a bit.
Those are some great stories. And I saw a band like this last night, and it was at Martyrs of all places, so a venue of under 300 people, an amazing, intimate. I love that place. Hadn't been there in a while. And to see this band playing there last night at a sold-out show. This is a band of guys from Ireland who are, to my knowledge, not signed to a record label. They have no management. They were engineering students, and they dropped out of school once they started writing songs together and got straight jobs. And then they quit those jobs once they made enough money just to get by and play some music.
You know, their parents were like, no. It's going downhill, stop it.
1,000%.
Stop what you're doing.
You guys could be engineers.
What are you doing?
And so they came to America just 10 days ago. They've never played here. And they made a couple shows happen, and they sold out instantly. All they did was start putting songs up on Spotify. So they have no album. They don't even have an album out. There's some songs up on Spotify, and the band is called Kingfisher. So it's Kingfisher, but no ER at the end, just Kingfish, and just R.
Oh.
Wait, you got to spell that completely.
So King, Fish, R.
R. Fisher.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And
What were they trying to put it on a license plate? They dropped the E?
somebody told me who I met there last night. I was with my wife, and Josie, our girl behind the scenes here, is taking Case's job.
Not hanging out with me, apparently. That's cool.
Josie got a ticket.
You know me, I hate up-and-coming bands. I would never go to something like that.
Case would hate to go to like a show, somebody not super popular
Just
yet.
so I could brag about it for the rest of my life. Who would want that?
Nope, so I got Josie a ticket, and she came with me and my wife to see Kingfisher, and they performed last night. I'm giving a little sample of their music because I love them so much. If you're a Lumineers, Mumford & Sons, and Kenzie, I know you love, Shipping Up to Boston. You love that song.
Oh,
Dropkick
hell yeah.
Murphys?
Yeah, that kind of has that feel as well. Maybe a little
I
Noah.
love the Dropkick Murphys. Are they Irish?
They're Irish. They're from
Okay,
Ireland.
I'm trying to pick up the accent. I'm like, it's not like normal British,
It's not normal British. It's Irish.
but I can tell we're European.
Yeah, and the crowd, everybody in the crowd knew every lyric to every song. And
That's
again,
awesome.
it was really inspiring to see. So there's a band. There's my tip of the day. Kingfisher, give him a listen. And I'm going to do everything I can to help him get signed. I might manage him. Maybe I can manage him.
No, you can't, and I'm going to tell you why.
Thank God, Case, because I don't want to be the bitch again, but thank God.
Because you hate doing that.
You think too big. Like, you saw this band last night, you go, well, they've got to be playing stadiums. And you know what? That song's awesome. I hope they do. But you think too big. You're going to book them for Soldier Field next year and you're their manager, and that's going to be problematic.
I can get him in there.
Okay.
I got to learn to talk to Rick.
Also, Brian's going to call venues 4 minutes where they're supposed to go on to try to book them. He's too not good.
Very good proof from the balloon incident a few days ago of Kenzie's birthday
Wonder
gift.
if they ever went on stage. I should text them a day after the show.
I'm not going to let your dissent stop me from managing this band Kingfisher. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, well, you knock yourself out with that.
God bless them.
A little more music entertainment news, and this is just a very funny piece of audio we have to play from you from Bill Hader, one of our favorites. On this past week's episode of Conan O'Brien's Needs a Friend, the podcast hosted by O'Brien, Bill Hader returned to the show and told a story about when David Lee Roth, singer of Van Halen, met Henry Rollins while doing a morning show. It sounds like, basically Brian, Kenzie, and Case having a conversation when you hear how this went down. Maybe more like just me and Case on this one. Kenzie would be saying, like, what the hell are you guys talking about if this was the conversation?
And also, Kenzie should be proud not to have representation in what you're about to hear. This is purely, this is what it sounds like when Brian and I have a conversation.
And this is how it went down on Conan's podcast.
And Paul, who's in the band The OCs, told me a story. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently Henry Rollins was going into a morning Zoo Crew interview, and David Lee Roth was coming out, so it's like 6 in the morning. And David Lee Roth's got this long, beautiful coat on. And Henry Rollins is like, hey, man, I just want to say I'm a big fan and everything. And David Lee Roth goes, oh, man, you want a drink? And he opened up the can, and it was lined with beer. The thing was just all these beers.
That sounds true.
And
That
it
sounds
does.
true.
Yes. And Henry Rollins is like the most straight edge guy around. He goes, no, man, I don't want to drink. And David Lee Roth went, what's the matter, man? You got school tomorrow?
Oh, so David Lee Roth.
That's funny.
That is awesome. Well, once again, that was Bill Hader. Well, always works in Van Halen somehow, even into whatever movie he's in or whatever skit. He works in so much Van Halen. Finally, tonight, I will be hosting a premiere for Thunderbolts, certainly a movie where a lot of people are going crazy for. And this is a premiere tonight at the Logan Theater on Milwaukee. So I'll be your host for that. And we'll give away some passes right now. Thunderbolts in theaters, an unconventional team of anti-heroes from Marvel Studios with Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, and more. It will be released this weekend. But
Yes, these passes are to go see it at a later screening date.
A later screening, because officially it opens up tomorrow, May 2nd in U.S. theaters. So 312-591-8300, caller 10, you get the Thunderbolts passes.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Well, it's always a glorious day when food drops come in here to Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And this is great because Fat Chris's Pizza and such, this is one of the guys that during the pandemic, if you remember, we had a list on our website of businesses to help out and try to go to help them out, new small businesses, local. And Fat Chris was one of those guys, I remember, and it wasn't too far from where I live, and got the pizza, and I just said, man, how does no one know about this pizza? It's on Foster Avenue, 1706 West Foster in Andersonville. Detroit-style pizza, square pan pizza, crispy caramelized cheese edge, airy focaccia dough. I probably should change the music. Airy focaccia dough, Wisconsin brick cheese. They make their own sausage from a Sicilian family recipe.
God bless America, or Italy, or wherever they come from.
Or it's Detroit style, so Detroit.
Oh, God bless Detroit, the Motor City, baby.
This is the other part. I can't even believe it when those are pepperoni rolls he sent us to besides the pizza.
Yes.
They make their own dough, sauce, and dressing. The dough is key.
What was that noise, Kenzie?
I don't know if you can be talking all dirty on the radio like this.
I might say it again. They make their own dough.
Oh, stop it.
That's a different sound. That was a different sound. I wanted the.
That's good
Sorry.
stuff. That's good. I like that.
They smoked their own brisket for 16 hours.
And it tastes like it, too. That is good stuff. Now, Brian, they reached out to us after we did the Portillo's breakfast review a few weeks ago. We were the first people in the world to talk about Portillo's breakfast. We all took bites of it live on the air. Would you mind really quick taking a bite of some Fat Chris's pizza and such? Oh, you've got a pepperoni roll there.
Well, I'll go with a pizza.
There's so many pizzas in this room.
This is the first time Brian's ran in like a year.
I moved pretty good there.
Kenzie, I thought he was going to knock you off your chair.
I know.
All right, here we go. Those long. All right.
Wait, let me see that. What did you just put in your mouth?
The Detroit style.
Oh, the Detroit style. That's thick.
The caramelization on the edges is what's key. The sauce is
There is
incredible.
sauce all over your face.
You know,
You're like the Joker.
and I'm a sauce guy. You got to ask for extra sauce. A lot of places you don't hear.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, this is good.
Case, do you have something in front of you? What do you got?
I've got the brisket pizza here.
You have the brisket pizza.
I do. Of course, Kenzie declining pizza because she's on a diet where she eats 75 calories a day, which is super healthy. But I've got a brisket pizza here. I'll take a quick bite.
All right.
Let me see what you're doing there.
Fat Chris's Pizza up in Andersonville. Try it. It's amazing.
I'm no barbecue expert, but that is tasty.
Is it barbecue sauce on the top?
The barbecue sauce on the top, brisket down beneath, and then still the basic structure of a Detroit-style pizza. I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm so thankful to be alive.
Brian, do you have one of those pizza puffs?
So it's a pepperoni roll. Obviously, the
I
Chicago.
want to see that.
Yeah, here we go.
I want to see it. And let me see the inside now that you've bit out of it. Let's pull that up.
Look at the inside.
Ooh.
So those pepperonis wrapped around.
Wow, that looks nice. Look how, oh my God, because I'm a cheese person, so that's like super cheesy and pepperoni and doughy. That's what I like.
Right. You could dunk it in sauce if you want, but the pepperoni was
Right.
light sauce.
I like that. That looks delicious. Look at the cheese pull on that bitch. That's what I'm talking about.
Anyway, so while you're eating pizza, Brian, can you tell people how they can see Bad Flour for free here?
I don't know if I can do it. Let me see
He's
here.
got a mouthful of pepperoni roll. He's
By the
still
way-
chewing.
Thanks again to Fat Chris's Pizza and such. Fat Chris in Andersonville. Find him, and always looking for a new spot. If you haven't gone there, it's incredible. He's been through a lot to get this far, too, through the pandemic and everything, so help the guy out. Now, help us out, too. That's kind of how we help you out. Q101 pop-up with Bad Flour free at the Cubby Bear.
Woo!
Thursday, May 29th, 21 and over show. Brian Phillips will be broadcasting live that day, 3 to 7, like he usually is on the air. Guaranteed entry passes he will have. I sound like Yoda there the way I did that.
I know.
This pizza's got the dough's gone to my brain. This is why I don't eat during the show. I have like protein snacks only and a protein shake.
You're so sharp. Otherwise.
You give me carbs? Forget about it. Call it a day. Your free first come, first serve ticket at Q101.com. Sponsored by the Cubby Bear and Boost Mobile. So the next one coming up, now we're in May. So May 29th, Bad Flour. It'll sound like this. Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. What are you taking away from today's show with Brian and Kenzie? Text in right now, 312-591-8300. Something that was memorable to you on today's show. So text your takeaway in right now. It may have been this earlier. I'm looking for a mathematician, and all morning long, since we did sports at 7 o'clock, sure, I've gotten some nice texts here and some maybe inaccurate or accurate ways if I'm right or wrong. Most people saying I was right on this, but I'm not sure. So this happened earlier in trying to calculate the White Sox win total for the entire year based on where they are right now.
Which is what, 7 wins?
7 wins, 7 and 23. And my calculations, well, you'll find out here in the audio how I calculated this earlier, and I want to make sure I'm right. So far, I think I am. Let's take stock for a second.
Okay, let's take stock.
The White Sox are now 7 and 23.
Ouch, I wish we wouldn't have taken stock.
Immediately regret this
That's
decision.
the consequences of my own actions.
Well, you can sell that stock if you want. So the White, and I thought about that. May 1st with a single-digit win total. Now it's hitting that, okay, they're, to Kenzie's point where the coaches were supposed to say, same guys, just play better. We'll do better than being the worst team in Major League Baseball history last year with a 41 and 121 total.
Which could totally still happen.
The thing, meaning beating that record or?
Yeah. Well, like, no, I mean, like, they could be better than they were last year, and that's fine.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not good at math. But I took 7 and 23. Clearly, we know that I'm not good at math.
Right.
There's 162 games in baseball. So that's 30 games of 7 and 23 that have been played. I divided 162 by 30. It came out to about 5.4. So then I multiply 5.4 by 7, and you get 37.8 wins. So I don't know if my math, if that works.
Wait, where did the 7 come from?
Yeah.
Seven wins. So 23, I divided it by, okay. Hold on.
Everybody sit tight.
Okay. There's 7 and 23, so 30 games have been played.
Okay,
Okay.
There's 162 games in a season.
I follow.
I divided 162 by 30. It came up to about 5.4.
To be like, you've done 5.4 games out of the season, like percentage.
So the season's like about a fifth done, a little more than a fifth done, right? So then I multiplied 7 times that 5.4, meaning that's, and then that comes up to 37.8 wins. Is that right?
I don't know why we multiplied it by 7. What does that do? I'm not good at math either.
Because
so I'm actually asking.
7's the win total. So I'm trying to get
Right,
a win number of if a fifth in the season, so times 5, and then
But what's that number mean?
the 5.4 means that's about how far of the season is of 30 games.
Times by 7.
Yeah. So there should
What
be,
is the number? 5.4 times 7 that you did.
is like 37.8.
Right. What does that number mean? 37.8 what?
That should be that should be the win total then.
Okay.
For the end of the year, for the final games.
You're saying if they keep up. Okay.
Is that right? Did you figure that out? Wow, is it fantastic to listen back to that?
Boy.
That was me this morning at 7 o'clock, figuring everything out here, trying to discuss and find out if the White Sox will break their own worst record in Major League Baseball history record from last year. Now, when I did that, Kendrick, the crew member, who I sent to a White Sox game last year to try to witness, and he did witness at least part of the build-up to the record, said I sounded like the wrestler Scott Steiner.
Sounds like you're doing math now.
Oh, my goodness.
Scott Steiner, when he was describing a match coming up and his odds of winning using the math.
You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Small Joe, and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the three-way at sacrifice, you got a 33 and a third chance of winning. But I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So, Samoa Joe, you take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning at sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning if we used to go one-on-one and then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning at sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice.
Oh my God. The little part of it reminds me of Friends when everyone's finding out about Monica and Chandler. Like, but they don't know that we know that they know that we know. And it keeps going and going and going. Oh my God. It's so hard to follow.
So good. Sending your takeaways right now, 312-591-8300. Something that was memorable today on the show for you. It's Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Lauren's on her way in, and we're going to hang out because we have the picnic announcement coming up at 10 a.m., so about 20 minutes away. The announcement of Picnic, the bands, all the information you need to know coming up here at 10 o'clock with Brian and Kenzie, Q101, and Lauren. Let's get to our takeaways from today's show so far. Case, what do you got?
Dave checked in from Tinley Park. His takeaway: if Kenzie and 99 other people lay on a gorilla, they can take over the world.
It's the power and unity. People forget.
Mm-hmm. Kenzie, what do you got?
Double features. My takeaway: Mandy Moore's boobs aren't entangled or Madagascar.
Very disappointing.
Boo.
Buh. And finally, Herm checked in. Takeaway: how many Sox baseball players does it take to flip a car will dictate their win percentage? Well, Case, what's on the podcast?
What a banner day. One of these days where I had fun every second I was here. I really enjoyed today's show. On the podcast, Brian wished tornadoes, hurricanes, and other disasters onto our crew members. He was very, very upset that it was a sunny day out when he got to work today. If that sounds insane, he'll explain why on the Brian and Kenzie podcast. Brian and Kenzie also want to hashtag finish the hole. We talked about how the city is wasting nearly $500 million of taxpayer money on a city project that has been vacant, abandoned, wasted for almost 20 years now. Brian and Kenzie want to finish the hole, and you can listen to that on the Brian and Kenzie podcast today.
I want to give a shout out to my Lyft driver last night when I left Martyrs to see the band Kingfisher I talked about, a glorious band. The band will be playing Soldier Field. I'll be managing them very soon. He was listening to Q101 in the Lyft on a very short ride back to my house. So, John, thank you for listening. We appreciate that. All of our rideshare people, make sure Q101 is number one on the preset in your ride-sharing vehicle.
Oh, my gosh.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.